Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel At Home with Shell. So in today's video I will be giving you my honest opinion and review of the Hellofresh meal kits. This isn't an ad or sponsored in any way, it's just my completely unbiased and honest opinion on what I personally think of the meal kits. I wanted to make this video because I recently have tried the box for a week, so I tried 5 meals and looked online and couldn't really find many reviews from people that kind of cooked regularly anyway. That wasn't an ad and wasn't sponsored. So yeah, I thought I would make this video if you were interested in just a normal person's review of the box. If you are new, then hi, my name's Michelle and I upload videos every single week. I do make quite a lot of foodie content over here, and I also upload a lot of my meals and meal plans on my Instagram, so I'll link that down below if you are interested. And if you are new and like this kind of content, then I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I know you've probably heard of Hellofresh because they're quite a big company, but if you haven't, then essentially they are a meal kit provider. You get all of the ingredients and method and everything that you need to cook your meals for a week delivered to your door in a box. There's lots of other providers out there as well. I decided to try Hellofresh because basically my mum had a code and it gave me, I think it was around 50% off, but they often have deals on their website anyway where you can get 50% off the first meal anyway. So I just thought I would try it and see what it was like. With regards to actually ordering it, you go on the website, and one thing I did find really annoying when I first went on the website is that you have to kind of put all your payment details in before you can see any of the meals. I think there's only around 3 meals that you can actually see and look at before you decide to commit to it, which I did find kind of quite annoying really, because I would like to know the types of meals that I'm likely to get. But because I had the code, I was going to do it anyway. So you put your payment details in, and then that essentially then opens up all the meals in there and you can scroll through. There's loads of different meals in there to choose from. You can pick from whether you want kind of speedier meals, or whether you want family friendly meals, or whether you want vegan meals, vegetarian meals. The choice is actually quite wide, and I was very impressed by the variety of the different meals and the different types of food they had in there as well. One thing I would say though is make sure you look at the calories on them, because when I was going through, some of them had really high calories on, and before you know it, you could be eating as many calories on, for example, like a brunch, as you could go to McDonald's and it wouldn't be as many. So yeah, you do need to kind of be mindful of things like that, if of course that's something you are looking at. You have to order a couple of weeks in advance, which I found quite weird. I honestly thought I would be able to go on there like you do with your Tesco shopping. Maybe this is because I'm quite naive, but I thought I'd be able to go on there on the Sunday night and then I'd be able to kind of get my food, you know, delivered for the following week. But it wasn't like that. Yeah, I had to wait like a good couple of weeks before I could get it ordered, which is, I suppose, fine if you're kind of doing it all the time, or if you can plan for it. But yeah, if it's kind of, you know, last minute and you think, oh, I haven't done any shopping, I haven't done any meal planning, then it can't be used for something like that, which I thought it would be able to be used for. So moving on to the delivery itself, you essentially get it delivered in a large box, and each meal comes on a recipe card with a number attached to it. So I'll show you here. So this one had the number 14 on it, for example, and then in the box, so I ordered it for 5 meals. In the box there were 5 different bags with a number on it. So they were brown paper bags, completely recyclable, and then so for example, this number 14 then had all the ingredients in for here, which I did think was really handy, because you could basically then, with the bags, just kind of stock them up. And then you don't need to think about getting different things out from different places. You literally just unpack the bag and all your ingredients are there ready to make the meal. So it is very handy. And I would say this whole concept is aimed at saving time, essentially, because it does save a lot of time. That is one of the definite benefits of doing this. And then the only thing that was separate to the brown paper bags for all the ingredients was the meat and kind of fridge ingredients, and they came in a separate bag, and there were ice cubes in there as well, which I thought was really good, because maybe if they were left outside and you weren't going to be able to put them in the fridge for quite a while, then all of the meat and any fridge contents would actually be okay for, I'd say, at least a couple of hours. So I did think that was quite good. And the meat itself did actually look quite fresh, so I was quite impressed with that. So yeah, actually unboxing it was kind of quite exciting, and I can see why people do it, because it is very easy just taking it all out of the boxes. So inside the bag itself, so each brown paper bag essentially has all the ingredients in for that particular meal, and then all the ingredients are precisely measured to the exact quantity that you need. So it's really ideal. So if you've selected it for 2 people or 4 people or 3 people or whatever it might be, then you will have the exact quantity that you need, which I think is really good. And that is definitely one of the benefits, because you might end up kind of normally when you're making a recipe having to buy, like a whole jar of something when you only need half of it, whereas this then actually would only give you, for example, half the jar. So I do think that is really handy. So I mentioned that you get a recipe card for each dinner, and I have to say I was very impressed with the recipe cards and how they've been presented, and they're kind of cardboard as well. And what I also liked about them is they are A4, because I find a lot of recipe books obviously aren't A4 and they've just got your picture and then the written ingredients, whereas what I liked about this one, so when you turn it over, each recipe card then has 6 different pictures. So if you're not kind of into cooking that much, and then if you maybe struggle reading text recipe methods, then this actually is very useful, because it kind of tells you what things need to look like. So if things need to be cut in a certain way, or things should look like a certain thing at a certain time, it does kind of make it very, very easy to follow. So you can see here, there are literally 6 step-by-step guides with pictures and text, and you get this for every meal in there, so it's super handy. And what I also like about it is it tells you everything that you need to get out, and this is one thing that I'm really bad at when I'm cooking. I will often start cooking and then think, oh God, I need the grater, or I need this, and I need this saucepan, and I wouldn't have got it ready. But this actually tells you what you need, so it will say what cooking tools that you will need, which I do think is really handy, because you can literally get everything out, and because all of your ingredients are there as well, I do think it kind of speeds up the cooking time quite significantly, to be honest. It also lists all of your ingredients down there, and it will tell you how much of each ingredient that you will need depending on how many people that you're making it for. And then it also has your nutritional information. So I would definitely make sure that you check this, because like I mentioned earlier, some of the meals can have quite high calories on them. But the majority of the ones I picked, to be honest, were roughly around how many calories I would have in an evening meal anyway. So another good thing about the recipe cards, that even though I've done this, I've now got them to keep, which is quite good. So what I'll probably do is just put these all in an A4 folder, and then I've got them to refer back to, because then I can just obviously make them again if you like them with your own ingredients. So before I summarise some of the pros and cons and give an honest review about what I actually thought of everything, I thought I would take you through the meals that I had and give you my opinion on what they were like, the quality, what they tasted like, that kind of thing. So the first meal that we had was the Moroccan style lamb tagine. And if I'm honest, of all the 5 meals that we had that week, this was my favourite. So I felt I got lulled into a bit of a false sense of security, because this was so nice, and then everything else after that disappointed very slightly, but obviously that's personal preference. This was really easy to make, and it's probably something that I wouldn't normally make at home as well. I don't normally buy lamb mince, probably because it's a little bit fattier, And then something that I don't normally cook with as well is bulgur wheat. This is just something that I would, if I made this at home, I would just be probably quite boring and have it with maybe rice or couscous. But it was actually a really nice alternative having it with something like bulgur wheat. And then a lot of the meals as well all come with kind of like additional parts to them. So this, if I was making this at home by myself, for example, I would just make the lamb mince mixture with the bulgur wheat, and then, but what they do is they add kind of extra little bits. So this has got a courgette ribbon salad on it, which I wasn't 100% sure on, but worked so well, and yeah, was just actually really nice. So this one I would definitely remake again with my own ingredients. What I did like about HelloFresh actually is the time that it tells you to take. So this says it takes 20 minutes. It does actually take that long. Whereas I will follow other recipes sometimes, like, you know, Jamie's 15-minute meals, and it never takes me 15 minutes. It always takes me half an hour. Whereas I found whatever the time said on these recipes, it did actually take me that long. So the next meal that we had was the chicken laksa. This is actually one of my favourite dinners anyway. I really enjoy this meal. I probably didn't enjoy this one as much as the one that I normally make. I found that there were too many noodles and not enough sauce. But normally when I have something like this, it's a lot more broth-like than just like thick noodles, but it did have a really nice taste to it. It had a really nice kick, so it wasn't kind of too spicy, but just had a little bit of a kick. The only thing that I would probably change if I made it again is this was made with coconut milk, which is really high in calories, and following Slimming World is just, I just wouldn't really normally use normal coconut milk. So I would probably swap that for coconut water or the coconut drink or the light one. And that would obviously reduce the calories by quite a bit as well. But yeah, other than that, actually, it was quite a nice meal. The next meal that we had was the Thai style pork rice bowl, because that's a bit of a mouthful. This was really quick to make as well. I did actually make this quicker than what the time said. So when I was making it, it told me to make it all in the same pan. So you fried the greens in one pan and then you fried the mince when they were done. And then when I was reading, I thought, well, what's the point in doing that? So I just basically fried the mince separately. And then I cut about 10 minutes off the cooking time, which I did find quite useful. But yeah, I mean, this was quite nice. It didn't kind of set the world on fire, I suppose, but it was a very nice meal that I would quite happily eat again. The next meal that we had was the honey mustard sausages. These were really good quality sausages. So we had a pack of 6 sausages. So we ordered it for 3 people, and there was obviously 2 sausages each, which was more than enough. They actually tasted like really good quality sausages. And then it came with mash, so there was just potatoes in there, and some cavello nero, which was kind of mashed into it as well. And when you mashed it, you didn't peel the potatoes or anything, which I wasn't really sure on, to be honest. And if I made it again, I would probably peel the potatoes and have kind of normal mash with them. But the onion gravy was kind of really nice. It actually tasted like a really sweet chutney. That was a real nice touch. The only thing that I would have probably added if I had things like this is a little bit more veg. The portions are huge. I literally couldn't get over how big the portion sizes were. And my partner eats a lot of food. And yeah, we ordered it for 3 people, and there were, on a lot of the meals, there was definitely enough left for another portion for us to be able to have lunch tomorrow. And then the last meal that we had was a vegetarian meal. I always try and eat at least 1 veggie meal a week. And this was called a Veggie Rigatoni Bolognese. This was probably my least favourite meal, to be honest. It had a lot of brown lentils in. I'm not a huge lentil fan, and it was just a little bit too much. And like I said, a lot of these recipes, like, they'll try and do something a little bit different with it. So like with the lamb with the courgettes on it, and this one had like a kind of salsa on it, which just, it was like a tomato and olive salsa that you then would put on top of the bolognese, which I don't know, to me it just didn't go. It just, the flavours just didn't work, and it wasn't really needed. It was kind of like they put it on just for the sake of putting it on. So yeah, I wasn't really that bothered on that. And the lentils, it was just too much. It was, I would have probably preferred to add the tomatoes that were in the salsa into the actual bolognese itself, and then I think that would have actually been a lot nicer. But I mean, it was okay. I'd eat it again. Would I eat it again? No, I would eat it again. I'd probably eat anything again. But yeah, it was probably quite a lot of effort as well. And one thing I did notice, I found it quite high in calories. Yeah, it was 823 calories per serving, which I think is really high for a veggie bolognese. I would not expect it to be that many calories. So for that many calories, I definitely wouldn't eat that one again. So that is all the meals review that I actually had, and now I just wanted to kind of summarise my personal thoughts and opinions on the HelloFresh box overall. So one of the main benefits that I think it brings is that it saves you a huge amount of time. You don't need to do any meal planning, you don't need to go shopping, you then don't need to unpack it, you don't need to sort it all out. Then when you actually come to make the dinner, because all of the ingredients are all in one bag, you essentially just get the bag out and it's all there. It makes it very easy and does save a huge amount of time. So if they're the types of things that you don't like doing, I mean, for me, I personally really love meal planning. So for me, that's not something that I'd really want to get rid of. But if you don't like meal planning and things like that, then this would definitely be a huge benefit for you. Another pro is there is near to no food waste with this. Because you get the exact quantities that you need, then you're not having to throw any food away or anything. So I know sometimes when I'm making dinner, you might need to buy certain things, or even like things like vegetables or salad, you might only need like half of it, and then the rest of it just doesn't get used in your meals if you haven't kind of planned it into place that week. Whereas with HelloFresh, then you've literally got all the quantities, the exact quantities, so there is no wastage at all. So I do think that is also another benefit. With regards to the actual cost of it, I'm very on the fence whether this is a pro or a con, because I personally think it's quite expensive. If you were making it for a family of four, then I think it would end up costing you quite a lot of money for it, like per meal. But I think if there's only maybe a couple of you and you wouldn't normally kind of buy all of the ingredients, or you know, you don't need a whole jar or something if there's only two of you, then it might actually kind of save you some money in the long run. And I also think it depends on how often you cook. So for me, I cook all the time anyway. I have massive cupboards full of all the ingredients. I have loads of herbs and spices and things like that. So I always kind of have those ingredients for more, I suppose, random dinners anyway. But I think if you don't cook that often and you just have the basics, and if you need to make a meal that, I don't know, has like a more of a rare spice in it, and then you end up paying like £1.50 for that spice just to make that meal, and you'll never use it again, then it makes it really expensive. Whereas with HelloFresh, you'd literally just get a little sachet with that spice or herb or whatever it is that you need. So yeah, I think it completely depends on your lifestyle, how you cook, how you like to cook. For me, I'm quite an experimental cook anyway. So I probably wouldn't do it again. Although I think that I think for the time saving and the no meal planning and having to go shopping and the fact that it's all just delivered, you just order it on the app, I do think that is really beneficial. So I would probably use it again, for example, if we were on holiday and we were coming back from holiday and you know, it's a real rush and you're getting from holiday and the last thing you want to do is sit there and think of your meals for the next week and then have to go to shopping. So I think if you can do this and then just think, right, do you know what, I just want 4 meals, so you know 4 meals when you get home are done, you get the box delivered. I think for things like that it is ideal, and that is what I would personally use it for again. But on a weekly basis, I personally don't think I would use it. I think it's good when you've got the offers on, but when there's no offers on, it actually does work out quite expensive per person. So personally, I wouldn't use it every single week. But like I said, it does depend on your own personal circumstances. And I think maybe if you're a couple who just gets in from work and doesn't have a lot of time, I think it would probably be a huge benefit. So another reason why I personally wouldn't use it is because, like I mentioned, I'm following Slimming World, and for Slimming World I didn't find it that compatible at all. A lot of the meals come with a lot of things that I would have to sin, and if I was to buy the ingredients and make the meals by myself, then I would have substituted the ingredients slightly to make them sin free, or made something slightly different. So for me, whilst I was doing it for the week, I had to sin a lot of, I had to use a lot of sins on my meals, which I wouldn't normally do. So if you are following any kind of diet or things like that, then make sure you take that into consideration before trialing something like this. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed this video and it hasn't been kind of too waffly, but I just wanted to make this video just to give a real honest review and give some real feedback on what I thought and the family thought of the Hellofresh when we trialled it for a week. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, please drop me a like and let me know in the comments down below. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!